Welcome to the subconscious and conscious mind. This, guys, is what I'm so excited to share with you. The reason people do not achieve the life of their dreams or even remotely close is because we are never taught the inner workings of the mind. And I don't know about you, in class, in school, nowhere did they talk to me about subconscious mind and conscious mind. Literally, I think if the school system, and if you don't know me yet, I do have a bit of a beef with the school system. Not to say that the teachers and the people in the system are not great people, many are, but the school system, as I've shared so often throughout these materials, is not designed for our highest level of success. At the end of the day, the school system was developed to train workers for the industrial age, to train us to show up on time, to do as we're told, to listen to the bell, to listen to commands, and leave at the end of the day. So here, we are going to go into the life-changing work of the subconscious and conscious mind. Let's start with the subconscious mind because it really is what drives a majority of our thoughts and actions and what determines our results in life. So the subconscious mind can be described as the autopilot to the brain. Habit. So if you get in a vehicle and you're driving down the road and chances are you're like, okay, I'm going to this spot, and you're thinking, and then all of a sudden you're on the road, you know where you're going, and then you've slipped into like thinking mode. And sometimes you even get to work or your destination and go, I don't remember getting here. It's because you slipped into subconscious mind. Habit. Your brain, your body knows how to drive. So instead of being conscious and really paying attention like you would if you were downtown in a city you don't know, your body and mind are like, oh boy, we know this. Let's put it on autopilot, and then we can start thinking about the stuff we really want to think about. So the subconscious mind is autopilot, habit, and it is actually formed as a child. If you've ever heard people talking about how critical early development is in children, there is no joke. They say the individual that you see walking around, adults, everything in our mind is pretty much formed by the time we're 7 years old. And all of that time period is spent in a state they call theta. And it's really hypnosis. And if you think about it, when you're a baby and a toddler and then growing into 5, 6, 7, everything in life is new. And you are observing the people around you, your parents, your aunts, uncles, grandparents, your siblings, all of the adults in your life. Because you know nothing, you're watching them, you're listening to them. Like they say, little ears are listening. The child up until the age of 7 is like a sponge. They're really in a state of hypnosis. They're just taking it all in. They're just little sponges. So if you look at a kid, take their first 7 years, and that will literally determine the outcome of their life. So if a child was brought up in poverty, middle class, or a very wealthy family, they're going to see and hear different things just based on how the family reacts, right? A poor family, a middle class family, and a rich family are all going to think, act, and behave different. And when it comes to money mindset, let's hone in on that. So if you're raised in a poor family or middle class where you're scraping by, your parents are trying very hard, but it's expensive. Your parents, let's state that. I'm not a big fan of blame. Our parents, no matter if you look at them and go, oh my gosh, or oh wow, they were amazing, No matter what your parents did, they were doing the best with what they knew how at the time and what they had. That's an unbelievable thought, but an amazing step towards forgiveness and understanding for the conditions that we're brought up in. But if you have parents that were poor and middle class and there was never enough money, chances are you heard things like, money doesn't grow on trees. Who do you think I am? Rockefeller? We don't have money for that. Stop asking for things. Be grateful. If I didn't have you kids, I would be rich. And no matter what that is, those thoughts are conditioned thoughts from your parents. And chances are, this is a generational thing. Chances are, if your parents are saying those things, they're probably not even their thoughts. It's probably their parents and their parents. And if you think about it, many of the thoughts and things that your parents said might not even align with reality. Maybe they had money, but they were always in a scarcity mode, thinking they're broke and going to run out of money and never wanted to buy anything, or they were very cautious. So I tend to call it verbal diarrhea. And unfortunately, that verbal diarrhea from parents doing their best, handling their own stuff in life, which is very expensive, that is where we get a lot of our knowledge, our thoughts. We hear our parents say that. A big one. Have your parents ever fought about money? So many kids have those memories ingrained in their mind because there's an extra amount of emotion behind it. And we think about those things. And I don't want to say traumatized because that's a bit of a dramatic word, but it ingrains into our mind and it starts to build our money story. So subconscious mind, habit, autopilot, pretty much formed by the time we are 7 years old. Now our brain, the conscious mind, is our mind that's alert, awake, and it's the one that is creative. It has the mission and vision for your life, the dream. You want to be an entrepreneur and you have this big idea or vision of building a business and a life of your dreams. That's your conscious mind, creative thought. So conscious is creative, subconscious is autopilot and habit. Now get this, your brain in the day spends 5% in conscious thought, 95% in subconscious thought. So think about that. In 100% of the time that you're thinking during the day, 95% of your thoughts are repetitive thoughts based on subconscious conditioning from when you were younger and the experiences you've had. You're on autopilot. You're replaying the same old broken record in your mind, right? How many times, if you think of everything you think of in a day, do you have brilliant, game-changing, innovative ideas every time you're thinking? No. 95% of that is autopilot, broken record. Only 5% of your time is spent consciously thinking and creating the life that you want. So are you starting to see where we go wrong in life? If 95% of our thoughts are old autopilot and really just, let's call it filler thought, and only 5% of our time is spent creating and thinking, and that conscious thought, 5%, is what is responsible for building our dreams. Can you see why most people don't achieve their dreams? Because you're going to go through your day and you got to work and you got to take care of your bodily needs, and then you got to take care of children and friends, family, community commitments. So majority of that time, you're just going to be on autopilot, that 95%. And then by the time maybe you have time to creatively think, you're tapped out. You don't have time. And without outside information, which is something we'll talk about later. Where are you getting those new creative ideas? So I'm going to share one final story with you to really drive it home. Let's say you have a friend, and your friend is Bill. And you've just listened to this video and you've learned all about the subconscious mind, conscious mind, and you're going, oh my gosh, wow, that makes sense. I'm starting to understand why we always end up like our parents. If 95% of our conditioning is from our parents, how are we not going to end up like them? It's a very huge, if not impossible feat for most people. So you can see why they say your environment helps create who you are. So let's say you just watch this video, you're like mind blown. I'm looking around, I'm exactly like my parents, who's exactly like their parents. Everybody around me is the same. And oh, if I don't change something, I'm going to be exactly like what I am and who they are. And if you like it, great, own it. If you don't, here's your work. But you've just finished watching this video. I'm hoping your mind's going to be blown, because it was when I learned this. Now, all of a sudden you go to your friend's house, Bill, and you're at a barbecue. His parents invited you over, and you're hanging out with Bill, and Bill's dad's over there, and they're talking, and you look, and this video that you've just watched is playing in your mind, and you have this awareness of how we become our conditioning and our surroundings. You look at Bill and you look at his dad. They may even look alike, probably. Then you notice their gestures are very similar and some of the things they say. And then you go, oh my gosh, Bill's an accountant just like his dad and his uncles. And you go, oh my gosh, Bill is his dad. Now, here's the thing. Bill's dad goes away and you go, hey, buddy, Bill, you know what I just realized? You're like your dad. Chances are you should probably walk away from Bill if he loves and cherishes and respects his dad. Probably not a bad thing. If Bill doesn't like his dad, that's going to be a real abrupt, cold pail of water over the head. But if you look around at the people that you know and like and love and trust, chances are you're going to quickly see the subconscious conditioning at play. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that is a great thing, because this right here is step number one to realizing how you are exactly as you are. Now, knowing that and knowing how the mind works, you know where to start to be able to condition and change your mind, what you have to work with, and really the mountain that you're climbing every day when it comes to changing your life and your habits and your thoughts and your actions in order to build your dream life, instead of living on autopilot, subconscious mode, and just reliving every single day just the same to get the same life you have now to the same life your parents have. This right here, if we were taught this in school, I guarantee you every single person would be living the life of their dreams. Because once you know this, you don't have an excuse. Of course, there's actions and things you need to do. But when you have this subconscious versus conscious mind training and knowledge, you now hold the golden key to unlocking your mind